Hello, and welcome to another edition of Movement Monday. Welcome back to the iMove TelePT community. I want you guys to think about an impressive car. A car looks great on the outside, but if it's great on the outside, but the engine inside is terrible, well, that's not good. I want you to think about a human body. And people see us on the exterior all day long. However, I want you to think about the inside of your body. Okay? If you're on, please let me know. Give me a shout out if you are on. Chat it up a little bit, please. If you're on, please let me know before we continue. All right, Tom is on. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for being here. But I want you to think about the body, and I want you to think for a second about how many cells make up the human body. Hey, Melissa, welcome. I want you to take a guess real quickly. Take a guess. Tom, Melissa, take a guess as to how many cells you think make up the average human body. This is wild to really think about this. Okay. So the answer is approximately 37 trillion cells. Well, tonight we're going to talk about what happens with those cells that can cause a lot of the systemic inflammation that people have. I have treated so many patients that had just terrible inflammation, not just at one joint, but in several joints. And no matter what I did, no matter what manual treatment I did, no matter what exercise we did, the pain just never seemed to decrease. And then I started reading about nutrition and how nutrition can affect cell function. And all of a sudden it started to click. And I've got so many anecdotal stories from patients throughout the years that once they changed their diet, all of a sudden a lot of their inflammation and hence their pain went away. So tonight we're going to talk about 3 tips to naturally decrease chronic inflammation. Welcome everyone again. My name is Dr. Michael Gorman. If we haven't met before, thank you for being here. It means so much to me that you're taking time out of your day to be here. I'm a fellowship trained physical therapist. I'm the founder of iMove TelePT. We are 100% telehealth focused today, tomorrow, and in the future. We're currently practicing telehealth in 18 states. So as we talk over the next 20 minutes or so, please interact. We have a few people on already. We have Gina, we have Tom, we have Melissa. I know more are going to be joining. If you like what I'm saying, give me a thumbs up, give me the heart sign, whatever emoji you want to do. I love emojis, so please, if I say something that you really like, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. So as we talk about the 3 tips to naturally decrease inflammation, we're going to talk about those right now. First of all, limit excessive sugar processed carbohydrates. That's the first thing we're going to talk about tonight. Second thing is to limit red meat intake. Look, guys, I love steak. I love hamburgers as much as anyone else. However, if you have low-level chronic systemic inflammation, I want you to really consider your red meat intake, also chicken and pork intake as well. We'll talk about that. And then the third tip is to consistently incorporate exercise into your lifestyle. We know that exercise does so many incredible things for our bodies, but the exercise can also help greatly with decreasing systemic inflammation, this low-level, low-grade chronic inflammation. So acute inflammation versus low-grade chronic inflammation. Those are 2 separate things. Acute inflammation, well, we all know it's redness, it's heat, it's swelling, we get pain. So that's your acute inflammation. And you know what? That's a really good thing that we have that in place in our bodies. If not, we would be causing a lot of damage to our bodies every day. So that acute inflammation prepares our body for healing after any kind of tissue injury. However, the low-grade systemic inflammation, that is going to significantly interfere with healing, and it's actually going to increase pain, and we will talk about that. But what's good about all this is that proper diet. And please understand, guys, I am not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, but I definitely have read a lot about this, and during my PhD with the Ola Grimsby Institute, we spent a nice long weekend talking about the effects of diet and the food we're taking in on our body's systemic inflammation. So let's talk about diabetes for a second. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. Thank you. And please, if you know someone that has diabetes, especially type 2, please share this right now with them. Invite them to join. They're going to hear some great things here. All right, diabetes. Take a guess. I'm going to ask this question, and then I am going to be quiet for about 10 seconds. According to the CDC, we all have heard a lot about the CDC for sure in the last 6 to 8 weeks. How many millions of Americans have diabetes? How many millions of Americans have diabetes? I want you guys to take a guess there. I would not have been able to guess this before I look, so please take a guess. How many millions of Americans do you think have diabetes? Okay. So the answer is, oh, Gina shouted out with 2 million. Great answer. Great answer. It's not right, Gina, but that's a great answer. Tom, Stephanie. Brian is telling riddles. I'm not sure where that gets us. Brian, how many people how many Americans have diabetes? Take a guess there. Or perhaps he's still trying to joke with Tom. Anyway, 34 million Americans have diabetes. And Gina says, no prize. Tom says 34 million. Amazing. Tom somehow, I don't know, he seems to get the answer right after I say it. So Tom, good job. And then Melissa said 50 million. Well, not right now, but I bet you in a few years, if we don't get things under control, that's unfortunately where we're probably headed. Okay, so approximately 90 to 95% of those that have diabetes have type 2 diabetes. And that's a good thing because that is the diabetes that we can control with diet. But what's scary, guys, about this is it used to be type 2 diabetes was merely if you were older. You know, most times 45 and up, that's when it started to happen. However, what is very unfortunate right now, what's so unfortunate right now is that so many kids are starting to get type 2, so many young adults. So the power to limit type 2 diabetes is well within us. And that is why I want you now to share this with somebody, with anyone, because it's, you know, I mean, we're obviously in the world, we're dealing with a pandemic, but diabetes has been an epidemic for a long, long time. All right. So Stephanie had a good guess. Stephanie gets 15 million. And Tom, again, somehow Tom gets these answers right. I don't quite understand that. All right, so I'm going to describe what happens when you, okay, so for example, last night my wife and I, she stopped by Bricktop, I believe, and got some nice food. She got some great salmon, some Brussels sprouts. We were doing all good with that. And then they gave her bread. And we we couldn't pass up the bread. The bread, we couldn't. And we've been really doing good over the last 2 or 3 years since Debbie, who you guys met last week, since Debbie got us going on Optavia. Our carb intake has really significantly dropped. But I'm going to explain to you what happens when you eat that piece of bread. So you eat this nice piece of bread. It's so tasty, so tasty, so tasty. It goes down to your stomach. And then it gets broken down into glucose, which is a sugar. That's fine. No problems with that. That's absolutely fine. That's the way the body works. So there's sugar in the bloodstream. Okay, sugar in the bloodstream, and then this organ called your pancreas, which you guys have probably heard of before. This organ called your pancreas says, hey, there is some sugar up there. And we're going to send some insulin up there, because insulin loves to take sugar and bring it all into the cell so the cells can produce energy and you can be a great functioning human being. Okay, you got that? So eat the bread, turns into sugar, which is good. And then the pancreas sees that sugar. The pancreas grabs that sugar and takes it into that cell. However, something sometimes happens called insulin resistance. And that's when there's too much sugar in the bloodstream. The pancreas is going crazy, saying, oh man, look at that. The pancreas is going crazy looking up that blood sugar. So it keeps sending insulin up to it. But what happens is that cell goes, hey, dude, I've had enough. So the insulin grabs the blood sugar and tries to go in the cell. But that cell is saying, no, man, I don't need you anymore. So the cell becomes insulin resistant. So I did not mean to make fun of that, but sometimes telling a story like that definitely helps to understand. So give me a thumbs up if you like that. Gina, Tom, whoever else might be on here, Melissa, Stephanie, if you like that, give me a thumbs up if you like that story. I thought of that tonight at 6:45. Pretty good, huh? Okay. Okay, so what winds up happening is that the insulin isn't able to take that blood sugar into the cell, and that sugar into the cell. So what happens? You have elevated levels of insulin and you have elevated levels of blood sugar in your bloodstream. And guess what that causes? You got it. That can cause low-grade chronic systemic inflammation. So that is why we need to get this diabetes under control. And if you think you may be, thank you, Stephanie, thank you, Tom. If you think you may be having any signs, are you fatigued? Are you kind of getting peaks and valleys? Those kinds of things, I strongly recommend that you get your blood sugars tested, okay? Again, don't forget, 90 to 95% of diabetes is type 2. Type 1 is genetic. Type 2 we can control, okay? And we could talk for seriously hours about the effects of diabetes and what happens, but that's beyond our scope. But good news is, like we said, you can control with diet. So there's something, and I think Tom maybe last week talked about or asked a question about low glycemic index foods. Okay? So low glycemic index foods are the foods that we want to eat. So the glycemic index, let me get this right, it's a rating of food showing how high it elevates your blood glucose level. So good foods, proteins, vegetables, nuts, beans, okay? High glycemic food, you can probably imagine what those are. Unfortunately, they're all the things. Unfortunately, they're the things that taste good. So let's see, white rice, instant oatmeal, refined sugars, Twinkies, Ho-Hos, cakes, donuts, all the stuff that we wish didn't taste so good. But guess what? And I know from firsthand, because when I was started Optavia and I was strict on Optavia, I lost those cravings. But then eventually I got bad and I started eating, and then you get those cravings. But so diet definitely can help with this. Okay. Okay. So that's the first thing, is the controlling your diet to decrease the systemic inflammation because of the insulin resistance that happens, especially with the type 2 diabetes. So be careful, guys. Next thing. Hold on. Let me see. Melissa, what about yummy chips and salsa? Well, Melissa, you would bring that up. Melissa is, hey, if anyone needs a party planner out there, whether you're quarantined or not, Melissa Greenstein, I'm going to give her a shout out because I love giving shouts out to people when they don't expect it. Melissa Greenstein has the most amazing parties in the world. So if you need help with party planning, you go see her. You call her. I can connect you with her. She's a great person. All right. But yeah, so I loved her. This neighbor of her makes chips and salsa, homemade. And I go over there and it's terrible. So probably not so good. Salsa, yeah, that's probably okay for you. But chips, you got to be careful. Everything in moderation and you'll be fine. Throw a little exercise in, relax, some chill time, and you'll be fine. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm getting off track here, but I just remembered, thanks to Gina, Cinco de Mayo is tomorrow. I love Cinco de Mayo. It doesn't love me, but I love Cinco de Mayo. So, yes, be careful with your food intake tomorrow. That's all I have to say. Next, arachidonic acid. I think I spelled it right. If I didn't, I apologize. One of the smarty farties on here can tell me if I spelled that right. But what is this? And it sounds like something from a spider web, arachnophobia or something. It's not. In our bodies, arachidonic acid is a precursor of inflammation. Okay, it's a chemical precursor to inflammation. So when an injury occurs, arachidonic is released and inflammation starts. So guess what? Oh, it's in foods as well. And I can't tell you exactly how much is in there. I'm not that smart. But arachidonic is highly included or in foods such as red meat, chicken, and pork. So if you have this low-grade chronic systemic inflammation, the pain just doesn't seem to go away. Because guys, guess what? Pain should not linger. Pain is your body's response that there's been some trauma, some damage, but the body does a great job of repairing that and healing that. But when the inflammation continues and maybe spreads to different joints, it's a problem. If you are unsure if you have this type of inflammation, hop on my website. If you're totally unsure, schedule a free discovery visit. If you don't want to do the whole hour evaluation, that's fine. But if you want to talk about these things, I'm more than happy anytime to talk to anybody. Okay. Arachidonic acid, again, it's a precursor for inflammation. It is in red meat, and chicken and pork. So why fuel the inflammation? Or perhaps you're going through a phase in life. Perhaps you just had surgery and there's a lot of inflammation. I'm not saying to cut it out, but just be careful. Okay. Omega-3s have been shown to decrease inflammation. Great source of omega-3s is salmon. Okay. So please consider that. We just had some yummy salmon last night from Bricktop as well. Very good. And other good anti-inflammatory foods, kale, carrots, oranges, broccoli, olive oil, Twinkies. Kidding. No on the Twinkies, but all the other ones are great. So do watch your food intake. That old saying, we are what we eat, is so true. If a car if a car like Sizzler needs premium unleaded and you give it regular unleaded, there's going to be a problem. Same concept. All right, let me take a break here, see if there's any questions I can answer. Tom, what about alcohol consumption and low-grade inflammation? Sangria versus Dos Equis versus tequila. Well, if you have enough of those, you probably won't have inflammation, or let's just say you won't be aware of it. So, Tom, choose that as you want. There probably is a real question in there, but maybe I'll talk to Tom offline about the alcohol. All right. Yes, and Stephanie just said that Lydia named all the foods. All her favorite foods are bad. Sorry, Lydia. It's the truth. Sorry. All right, let me know if anyone has any questions. Yes, Stephanie, Twinkie teas. Yes. Did anyone give me a shout out if you ever ate a chocodile? I'm not sure if they have chocodiles anymore. My kids don't probably know what chocodiles are. They get enough junk, trust me. But if you had a chocodile, let me know. Just say yes or no. Chocodile, yes or no, let me know. Let me know if you've had that chocodile. And then you're probably my age if you've had a chocodile, sorry. In case you didn't know what a chocodile is a Twinkie that's covered in chocolate. It was a fantastic thing back in the 80s and 90s probably. Next thing, sorry for getting off track, but it's fun. It's okay. We can take this however you guys want. If Tom wants to talk about his tequila all night long, we can talk about tequila. I wish we had Karen on. Karen from Dallas, she's our tequila expert. All right, exercise, regular exercise, it helps to drive that blood glucose into your cells. So exercise helps to do that. Exercise also reduces body fat and decreases a lot of the inflammation that occurs in adipose tissue. That's such an ugly word. Adipose tissue. There's nothing good about it. I'm sure there's something good about it, but definitely there is your chances of having systemic inflammation. If you're heavier are more likely than if you have a lower BMI. So the other thing is exercise also can help to increase muscle mass, which increases something called anti-inflammatory cytokines, which are basically cells that are helping to decrease inflammation. Decreasing inflammation. So anyway, let's sort of summarize 3 ways to naturally decrease inflammation. First of all was the limit excess sugar and the refined carbohydrates, the processed carbohydrates. We talked about what happens when you have diabetes type 2, or type 1 as well, but we talked a lot about diabetes type 2 and the insulin resistance. Next thing we talked about was the arachidonic acid. So if you have low levels of chronic inflammation, be careful. Be careful of the meat, chicken, pork, the red meat especially, but also chicken and pork intake. And the third thing is exercise. Exercise helps so many things. Regular exercise should be a part of all of our lives. We've talked a lot about that already. Okay. Stephanie says better than Twinkies. Yes, chocodiles are better than Twinkies. And Stephanie also said, not since I was maybe 9 years old did I have a chocodile. Yes, you are younger than me. Thank you for telling me how old I am, Stephanie. I last had mine when I was probably in my 20 or something like that, 20s, I don't know. So why are we talking about chocodiles on this Facebook Live where we're trying to talk about healthy food, low level glycemic index? Sorry, it's my own bad, Okay, couple more things, guys. Wednesday, May 6th is our Welcome to the Community interview. We have a nutritionist, a real live one coming on, and her name is Jillian Warwick. And Jillian owns her own company. I believe Jillian's based out of Florida. But I've heard excellent things about her and her practice, and I'm looking forward to her sharing her knowledge with us on Wednesday. It will be absolutely fantastic to have her on. 7 p.m. Central, as always. I'm kind of boring like that, guys. Sorry, don't like to deviate. Something works. I don't like to deviate. So Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. she'll be on. Now, don't go anywhere because, sorry, there's not going to be any characters tonight. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about it. No characters. But as always, Monday is Motivational Monday from here until infinity. Well, who said that? From infinity to beyond. I think that was, tell me who that was, somebody. From infinity to beyond. I know it was from Toy Story. And someone will tell me who that was. But anyway, I want to read this quote. So hopefully you guys know who Jim Valvano was. He was the head basketball coach of North Carolina State in 1984 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I only know that because I lived in Albuquerque for 7 years. Jim Valvano was the head basketball coach at North Carolina State, and North Carolina State had an amazing upset in the NCAA title game, basketball Final Four. They beat Houston. Houston was 5 slamma jamma. Houston was incredible. And North Carolina State was pretty much unknown. And Jim Valvano, he was an incredible coach and an incredible guy. Yes, sorry, Tom, that was Buzz Lightyear. Thank you. Jim Valvano was amazing. He was an amazing motivational speaker. However, unfortunately, Jim Valvano had cancer, and he died at a pretty young age. Jim Valvano was probably, someone can tell me, but probably in late 40s when he died, and I believe he died in like 1991 or something like that. And just incredible person and incredible life. But this is like one of my favorite quotes. You can use this if you want. I do not have a patent on it. But you should look it up online, because when Jim Valvano says this, it's much more powerful than when I say it. He was just fantastic. All right, here we go. Whew, this is tough to read. We should do 3 things every day of our life. Number 1 is laugh. You should laugh every day. Number 2 is to think. We should spend some time in thought every day. And number 3 is you should have your emotions moved to tears. And the context of it is absolutely amazing, because he passed away. That was at the ESPYs, I believe maybe the first or second year of the ESPYs. And he said that quote, and he passed away a couple months after that. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I am grateful for you being here. Hopefully this is great information that you're learning. It's not always going to be just about physical therapy. Sometimes maybe we can talk about life. Maybe I can be a psychologist. Lord knows in my career, I've definitely been a psychologist. But this is all about wellness and health and what we can do to get healthier. And if you ever have any questions about any of this, go to iMoveTelept.com. I'm always there for you guys, and we can talk. So stay home, stay strong, and as always, I'm very grateful for you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.